Hey guys, it's Real Estate Investor MBA, your favorite host. This is my partner, Jeremy Moyer,
How you
uh,
doing?
Tejas Sign, and we are experts in the real estate industry. And we just wanted to take some time to talk about some difficult issues and situations. Jeremy, we started this podcast partially because of COVID.
Absolutely. It was what we call the COVID project. When
Yes.
there was not much real estate activity going on early in 2020. But yeah, it's picking up steam and we're just trucking through it. And, it's kind of like we've seen things go a little full circle.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, now we've survived this chaos. We are lucky enough to be some of the people that have survived. And now everyone's just hungry for information. We are particularly very hungry, but people can't get enough answers fast enough. And I mean, the whole world of real estate is being rocked. There's no other way to put it. 1031s maybe disappearing, Biden administration. And now, I mean, Jeremy, you've owned many properties over many years.
Yes.
The rental income is literally the lifeblood of putting food on your kid's table, and that has been disturbed.
Very disturbed. With the early on last in 2020, the eviction moratorium, like there was talk, oh, it's going to be around for 3 months and 6 months, then 9 months. And, there was programs that the government tried putting into place to help with landlords and tenants with relief programs. And, some people were able to take advantage of it, but it's kind of been clunky, for lack of a better word, on the rollout of funds for really where people need help. And landlords are suffering if they don't have the proper reserves in place. And I don't think anybody has reserves for 18 months. Like I don't know many people that do that.
I mean,
it's very challenging.
If you do, we got to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah, but you're nailing, you're nailing this because people. I feel like we real estate, developers, syndicators, multifamily owners. There's a little bit of maybe a misconception in, hey, those people are landlords. They're making so much money, and that's not the case. I mean, this is it's difficult. And the margins are not as crazy as people may think. And, when you have one issue with one property and you own a few, that bleeds your capital. And to not know to have reserves and then have something like this happen, you can't catch up. And there are people that just could not make it. They had to fire sale their properties. And let me bring this up. I mean, Jeremy, you know this. Tenants are beautiful, but when there's a major issue or there's something to take advantage of, that there are, discrepancies, and there are tenants that take advantage of this, and it kills the landlord. So, luckily in our valley, I've had, the few thousand people that, few thousand units we've helped with, like almost everyone has been paid, or they've had delayed payments or something like that. But nationally, some people are not as lucky.
I agree. I mean, I think in any industry there's always bad apples in the bunch. I mean, there's, throughout COVID, I've had, had properties, and some tenants, they would work with you, and it's great. I mean, you had really great people. Most of the people are great people. And they're to work with you. They're not looking to take advantage, but you do have some that look to take advantage and take advantage of the system. And I think that's an end of industry. But what's really interesting was when the Supreme Court came out earlier this year, and it was more earlier in the spring or summer. They came out basically saying that this moratorium that was in place was no longer constitutional, and then they kind of stripped those powers from the CDC up until I think it was in July, where it was really like the deadline. And then Congress had so many days to act to extend it, which they did not extend it. And it just expired recently. And landlords are like, thank you, finally. Like they can actually,
God.
Yeah. And now, just recently, the Biden administration, I think it was just a couple of days ago, he put in place another moratorium. And people were up in arms thinking like, how is he able to do this? That's set to expire October 3rd. And I was just reading a newsletter earlier today. Obviously we can complain all we want. We can bitch and moan. I don't know if I can say that, but I just
It's fine.
But what can we do? What actually can we do? What can landlords do? And that's really what we wanted to put out there was, so Congress did enact a program called, and I'm reading this, the Emergency Rental Assistance Program, which is ERAP, okay, ERAP. And it's there to accurately and quickly deliver funds to tenants and landlords that are in need, that have been taken, not taken advantage, they've been impacted by COVID, right? And this is a way that tenants and landlords can go out and request funds through this program. And, the PPP and the EIDL, like that was actually done really well through that. I mean, there was some clunkiness in the beginning, but money actually got doled out to the places it needed to go. And I did not know this until I just read this newsletter, but it was saying that 2 blocks of funding, up to $49 million was allocated to the Emergency Rental Assistance Program. And only to date, only $3 billion has been distributed. Wow. So if you're affected, reach out to your congressperson, your local congressperson. Tell them that you're in need, that either you're a tenant or that you're a landlord with tenants that are in need. And reach out to them and say, I know there's money in this fund that was allocated for this purpose.
Right.
I really need this.
And some people may think, oh, they're not going to answer the phone, or, how am I going to get through? We need people to act. You may not get through, but if enough people are, this will work. And I've connected with our congressperson. We have a great realtor here in the Lehigh Valley that basically is like a liaison to Harrisburg for real estate issues, and she was very pivotal when COVID started to keep our industry running. But this is a very tumultuous time. I hate to say this. There's never going to be a union for landlords. That doesn't exist. And our rights, actually, everybody's rights are changing dramatically. So the only way to really do it, and as somebody who went to law school, like, the legislative process is incredibly difficult, and enough people making some type of a ruckus or a noise will make some differences. For example, I can't imagine the 1031 stuff actually happening. People are like, businessmen are going to the streets right now because they will lose their entire legacy they've built for the past many, many years. They're, the reason they work themselves to the bone so that their kids can be okay. This is life or death here at this point. I don't think enough people talk about that either.
No, I agree. I mean, really, this was a short video that, Tejas, you and I wanted to put out there, just kind of what's being talked about right now. And just with some action steps. I mean, it is important. People do listen, especially your local concrete people. They do listen if you continue reaching out to them. You're local to the community. The properties, the tenants, they're local to the community. I think, I'm trying to think how to word this. I think everybody has the right intentions, and they want common good. Like, everybody wants relatively, the end result. There's a ton of disagreement how to get there, right? So I think if it's portrayed like that to your local representative, we already know there's money there. They put money there. They allocated funds there. There's a way to get there. So there's an option for you when you don't think there's an option.
Yeah, and this is one solution. Another thing is just being really proactive with tenants. Yep. And accommodating, and all that CapEx you put in over the past few years and replacing the roof. It's time to remind people how good of a business person, businessman, businesswoman you have been. And really, I know with tenants that have kids that, we are landlords for, we're putting their kids through school. We're paying those taxes, and it is a symbiotic relationship. So, it's probably one of the most endearing relationships you can have that can go south very easily if somebody on either side, doesn't do what's supposed to be done. So we're active. We're going to try to see what happens with this. talk to some experts, some folks, and hopefully have some folks that come on the program. If you have anyone that is an authority or knows about these topics or is more up to date, please email, text, whatever, LinkedIn us. We'd love to have them on the program.
Absolutely. Well, take care.
Yeah. Cheers, guys. We'll talk to you about some more stuff next time. Check us out online, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play. Cheers.
Bye-bye.